What's up guys, Flo here. So Sentinels has been consistently dominating 100 Thieves on the map split. Now I'm saying consistently because in the last 2 times 100 Thieves did go against Sentinels, the games ended in a 13-2 and a 13-5 win. Not really close. 100 Thieves still has been incorporating KO on a lot of the maps, and on some maps they've had wild success. But today we're going to be taking a look at why Sentinels is specifically so dominant against 100 Thieves on this map and what exactly went wrong in the grand finals. So let's talk about the comps for either team. Sentinels run a more standard comp, Zoms on the Astra, Sick on the Sage, the 2 duelists being Shazam on the Jet, and Tens on Reyna, and closing out with Dapper on the classic Cypher. 100 Thieves changes it up a bit, having Nitro on the Astra, Ethan on Sky, Steel on KO, Hiko on the Viper, and Asuna on the Jet, going for double controller and double initiator. Round 1, Hiko gets picked early by Sick. They get stalled by Steel's KO knife, as you can't really push onto site without the Sage wall. After waiting out the suppress, they re-exec onto the B site, Sick walling the cross, and then fighting with the 3 players have it. They get the damage out and take the site, and Dapper catches a late lurk onto Steel. Now you might be worried why nobody is watching the flank here. Well, actually let's rewind a little bit, and you'll notice that they triple push mid here, after losing the pick on Hiko. They push out, clearing it, forcing Shazam to back off, and they kind of fall off thinking that no one's going to re-aggress after showing so much presence there. After losing pistol round, 100 Thieves is forced to eco second round. It was a good early punish by Hiko on 10s, pushing through the Viper wall. Sick refrags, but with a good combination of the Sky Flash, they refrag onto Sick. When Sick goes down, he notices there are 3 players on the B site, which gives a clear indication that there can only be max 1 at the A site. Steel gets killed by Shazam as they're rotating through to the A site, and with an open bomb site is allowed to plant for heaven. The 300 Thieves members rotate through screens to try to retake, but end up losing the 3v3 post plant due to just strictly better positioning. Round 3, first gun round. Asuna buys an op. He plays aggressive, pushing up mid and gets a pick, but is unable to dash out. Zom's default stars has great impact here. As you can see here, Steel really wants to help Asuna and wants to at least trade out one more, but because he knows the star is there and he knows that there's going to be a gravity well coming up very soon, he's forced to back up into B heaven. As if he didn't, he'd likely just die for free. After losing mid control, 100 Thieves re-aggresses into B main, and while Steel doesn't get a kill here, Nitro kind of saves the round by getting 2, putting it in a 2v2 post-plant situation. The 2 players rotating from the A site unfortunately lose the 2v2 due to good positioning from Dapper on the rafters and Tens on the site. And on to round 4, another eco. Nothing much to say here except for a very valiant play from Ethan. He almost gets an ace here with the Sheriff popping off and putting it into a 1v1 at the end, maybe making Sentinels butt clench a little bit. Moving on, round 5, second gun round. Right off the bat, triple aggression in mid. This punishes Shazam for aggressively updrafting onto the box mid. Sentinels proceeds to res, and in an attempt to defend the res, Dapper goes down to Steel. The round here is won by Asuna though. Asuna lurks into vents, playing a very good and aggressive position, but not getting caught by the Sentinels members as they don't clear it. As Sentinels is pushing up into B heaven, Asuna is in the perfect position to get a very fast flank, trading 2 for 1 here and putting 100 Thieves in the man up position. In the end, Shazam is just forced to save. Now on to round 6, which was a banger. 100 Thieves starts off using a ton of utility. Asuna pops knives and pushes into B main aggressively with the help of Ethan's Trailblazer. Hiko Viper ults mid, shutting down the mid push. And quickly you'll soon notice that the round resolves with the triple stack A by 100 Thieves on the A site. Sentinels start moving toward the A site, and this is where things start going wrong. Ethan gives an opening by peeking A ramp from an unfavorable angle, and Sentinels quickly realize there can max be 2A. Asuna was last heard pushed into B main. Hiko's Viper ult is in mid, so max 2A. The round quickly approaches a 2v5, and Asuna pulls a rabbit out of his hat and pops the off. He gets an ace with the jet knives and clutches up the post-plant situation, defusing the spike, gaining 100 Thieves another round. On round 7, after losing the previous round, Sentinels is forced onto a save, and it's a clean eco from 100 Thieves. Nothing too much special here. But unfortunately, after this, everything starts going downhill for 100 Thieves. At the beginning of round 8, Dapper's cam immediately spots 3 right outside of A main. 2 pushed up at the barrier and 1 all the way back screens. Notice how fast Sentinels capitalizes on this. A very quick decision to push up into B heaven, as if there are 3 players A, there can max be 2B. And with the default split, it's usually 1 site, 1 heaven. The 2B defenders are forced to play retake, falling back into CT and waiting for their teammates. Sentinels play a really great 5v5 retake, Shazam lurks and gets a kill on Steel, and after Sick gets a kill in the CT smoke, 100 Thieves decide to save. Round 9 doesn't go much better. 2 very bad fights happen in vents. Nitro uncharacteristically loses a fight with Shazam in vents, even having the upper hand by shooting first. Ethan gets caught off by Dapper's push when trying to stall mid by flashing. Losing 2 people in that quick succession opens up the A site. Sentinels quickly realizes the gap and floods through vents to the A side. Steels gets a consolation prize but ends up needing to save. On round 10, Steel gets a very early pick onto 10s in B main and uses his knife to safely fall back to site. Sick walls off garage and uses his red res on 10s, and then Sentinels proceed to cut noise. Steel plays in a very committed position, and here's Shazam updraft on top of the wall. But little did he know that Sentinels were planning to re-exec onto the B site. They quickly break the wall, and while Steel does manage to eke out a kill onto Sick, they quickly lose the site due to Zom's Astral Wall. While it was a really great effort, unfortunately 100 Thieves loses on the retake. On round 11, with the score being 7-3, it's not looking good for the defenders, as Split is normally characterized as a defender-sided map. Nitro takes a very aggressive push A main and gets caught off by Shazam just holding the position with an AWP. It doesn't help that Steel also gets caught off guard and doesn't expect Sick to be that far pushed up. While Ethan does manage to get one, Hiko gets lurked up on by 10s, and quickly the round ends in just 20 seconds. On round 12, the last round of the half, Shazam pops knives early in the beginning of the round, updrafts, and catches off Ethan in A heaven, immediately setting them off at a disadvantage from the start of the round. Steels makes a very daring attempt and pushes mid to get a lot of info, but because Sentinels never makes a noise, he really doesn't get much. In an attempt to get more info, he continues flanking and gets caught off by 10s holding the flank. Sentinels then use a Sage Wall to fake out the B site, pull the remaining 3 members of 100 Thieves toward the B site, where they find out, unfortunately, that they've been faked out and Sentinels is on the A site. And in a 3-on-5 post-plant position, they're not exactly favored. I wish I could say new half, new beginnings, but that's not exactly what went down. It starts off great. 100 Thieves takes vent aggressively, leaving Asuna to lurk for a little bit, and he catches off Shazam. They fall back to mid just to re-exec onto the A site through vents again. Everything looks great until 10s makes a huge play. He sits in the smoke waiting for his timing and pushes through and gets 2 insanely quick kills onto the players dropping from heaven, and then a third onto the dashing Asuna trying to trade. Nitro gets killed by Sick, pretty much leaving Hiko in a very hard 1v3 situation. Being down 10-3, 100 Thieves definitely feels the pressure and pretty much notices that they can't really give many more rounds. They force buy instead of the traditional save, but better weapons and better positioning wins Sentinels the round, and even gets Dapper a cheeky BM knife kill on Hiko. After losing the force, they're definitely required to save, and there's not much to be said here. Sentinels clean it up, losing just 1 player. First gun round of the second half, Sentinels is bonusing, keeping most of their Spectres from the previous round. Steel catches them double pushing down mid. Hiko catches off Shazam top ramp, and the round quickly spirals in favor of 100 Thieves. They only lose 1 player and close out the round. Round 17 starts off with Asuna and Steel working up toward mid. With the help of Nitro's smoke in the mailroom, they're able to cross into vents safely and catch Shazam off guard. They crunch on the A site with the Heaven and A main split, and Sentinels is forced to save after Hiko pops his ult and puts Sick in a 1v3 situation. But Sick manages to save an AWP, and you're gonna realize why this is important. Round 18, the final round of the game. It's an eco by Sentinels, except for the AWP in Shazam's hands that Sick saved. Steel instantly ults mid, and instantly gets taken down by Shazam. 100 Thieves quickly move to res the down KO. 10s tries to capitalize, but instantly gets killed. Shazam now in B heaven, holds for the mid swing, and Hiko gets taken out. This is when the B main push comes in. Asuna and Ethan in the B main start pushing out, and get taken down from Shazam and Dapper holding the B main cross. Spike is dropped outside of B main, in the open, and on the defender side of territory. B main is smoked, leaving Nitro and Steel stuck on the other side. In a valiant attempt, they hit some nice shots, taking out Shazam and Zoms, leaving Dapper in a 1-on-2, but he's got the clutch gene, and he ends up winning the 1-on-2, closing out the game and closing out the grand finals of Sentinels versus 100 Thieves. So let's recap what exactly went wrong. Now keep in mind, take into consideration that I am by no means pro. These are all my own speculations and my own inferences. You are more than welcome to disagree with me, as I am also acting with hindsight. These are not things that players would be able to realize during the game, as they don't see everything. Pistol round, the biggest impact was Hiko getting picked really early. 100 Thieves doesn't set another player on site to anchor, and they end up just taking the fights in heaven, where with a bunch of nice shots they get a lot of damage off, and Steel is caught by a lurking Dapper. Round 2 is an eco round where 100 Thieves was already down, so we're not really going to count that one. Round 3 came down to a 2v2 post plant, which could have gone either way. You win some, you lose some. Round 6, although 100 Thieves won, should never have gotten to that position. They did everything right. Asuna took B main control, cleared B main. Hiko's ult holds down mid. With 2 players, they shut down 2/3 of the entire map. 3 players on A, Sentinels were forced to push into a stack. How did it get into a 2-on-5 situation? Ethan's pick opened up the site for Sentinels. Ethan dying in heaven allowed 10s and Dapper to take heaven control, cutting off rotates from the defenders. Also allowing Shazam and the rest of the team to slowly take the A site and not need to just rush through the smokes. You see, when you have heaven control, you'll notice that Sentinels can take it a little bit slow. Shazam here doesn't need to just run through a smoke. He can see if someone over-aggresses, like Steel did. Then they just crunch on the remaining player and they take the A site. Hiko, while being mid, was never able to rotate because they don't have heaven control. It's very hard to rotate from mid to heaven unless you go through CT, because ropes isn't the best place to rotate if you don't have heaven control. Round 8 was honestly chalked up to Sentinels' very fast decision to hit B. Sentinels were already probably likely to hit the B site, and the fact that Dapper spotted this only made them speed up the push. You see, there's already 4 players in the ramen area, and when you get the call out there at 3-8, you just plow through B. Round 9 was super unfortunate in terms of gunfights. Nitro losing out to Shazam, and Ethan losing out to Dapper. But you're gonna notice that Hiko, while being in heaven, was unable to really help. But you'll see that Tense pretty much makes it impossible for Hiko to take a fight by flashing into B heaven and pushing Hiko off the angle, allowing Sentinels to fight Nitro and Ethan separately. Round 10 had a lot of impact due to Steel just playing a very committed position, as DDK says.
Steel's in an extremely committed position. He is probably going to die here. He has very little support. In fact, he has no support right now.
And although he got the early pick, essentially only impacted the round for 1 kill due to the res. Round 11 was also equally unfortunate. Nitro gets very aggressive, no smokes, no utility use. He just gets picked by Shazam posted on the op. Steel gets caught off guard. The round pretty much ends there with 2 kills and essentially no response. Round 12, Ethan gets caught off by Shazam, updrafting with the knives right off the bat, and Tense catching Steel off on the push. Steel really felt like he needed to make a play. Being down a man and being 3 stacked to the B site, you're kind of leaving Nitro to dry at the A site, so making the play is great. It's just unfortunate that Sentinels are really covering their bases. Pistol round chalks up to Tense getting insane 2 kills on the heaven drop and 3 kills on the round. The final round, round 18, really came down to smokes. The push mid and the push B main weren't exactly at the same time. When Asuna and Ethan both swing out, they get picked by Dapper on a ghost, and more importantly Shazam opping from heaven. If there had been a smoke, maybe the round goes a little bit differently. The reason is most likely that Nitro had a res Steel and threw off the timing of the push. And there you go. That's my own personal thoughts on the 100 Thieves versus Sentinels game on Split in the grand finals. If you guys have any thoughts or games you'd like me to comment on in the future, comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.